Great, fantastic. So, hello, welcome back, everybody. We're here for another episode of Between Two Simulators here with the eminent overlays behind us, and we're talking to a guy that's a garage innovator that produced something within his own time that he's trying to bring to market, and we've had some success there. And it's also an area in healthcare simulation that people don't think about. So Ed Owens is the owner of a company called Hands-On Teaching Tools. He has a long history in biomechanics and also trained as a chiropractor. And Ed, really, thanks for coming along. Thanks for being here. Thanks for bringing to talk to us. Tell us about your career, Ed, and where you started.
Well, I went to Georgia Tech and got a biomechanics degree, engineering science and mechanics, and I was really curious about spinal mechanics and the human body, and was transitioned into chiropractic from there. So I went straight from engineering school to chiropractic school and went through that whole program. I got involved in the research department at the university where I went to chiropractic college and really gravitated toward that. I had a good background in math and engineering, and it was a very good background for chiropractic research, and I'd been through that. But had a whole career, about 40-year career.
Wow.
In that.
Okay.
So I've got a lot of publications, went to a number of different colleges, but was doing more and more in the biomechanics area and the chiropractic end. Somebody approached about creating a mannequin for training purposes, and I had a lot of ideas about that because of engineering training and then the chiropractic training, and then started working on that. The last 2 or 3 years, that's been almost my full-time job, is working on that mannequin.
Yeah, so I mean, 40 years, that's a long career.
Yeah, it's almost long enough.
Yeah, well, you know, almost long enough. It's before I was born. No, not really. And, but essentially, going through the world of chiropractors into healthcare simulation, it's not usually associated. So what made you think in that direction for a training product?
It was really suggested by the president of the college I was at that we needed something in there. He never had any ideas about, details of how it would be, but just the word just kept dropping around. Mm-hmm. And I picked up the torch and started carrying that and started developing ideas and prototypes and things like that until it really got to a form where it was a full body and with all kinds of sensors and mechanisms inside, and it became really a sophisticated thing. So most of them are at one chiropractic college, and then the last couple of years I've been trying to expand outside of that into other fields. The same kind of simulator would work in other types of manipulative fields and other chiropractic colleges. So I've been working to try and make it marketable, make it constructible, and have more fun with it.
Yeah. But what were the frustrations for training that really gave you the idea for the product?
The idea is that in training in chiropractic schools, a lot of osteopathic and medical manipulation, they always do early practice on other students, and the students working are on students, and the students don't know anything. So they're learning on each other, and sometimes they are tentative, or sometimes they push too hard and they hurt each other. Mm-hmm. So there's a history of injuries as a chiropractic student, getting injured. So we think it's best if you could practice on something that won't be damaged, and that's why the mannequin, the simulator part of the physical part, would be really important, just to avoid injury for your co-students. But then we added in the idea of pressure sensors to give it more feedback about how hard you're pushing and where you're pushing. So it became more of a training tool to help the students out, but also give things that there was no other way to produce. You can't tell if somebody's pushing on your third thoracic. Mm-hmm. How do you know? But with the mannequin, there's a sensor on the third thoracic, and because you're lighting it up.
And it tells you how much pressure you're putting on, where the pressure is.
Yep, exactly.
And so you decided to make this product, decided to make Pat. Mrs. Owens sees you disappear into the garage, okay?
Yep.
How did you make that work? You started developing stuff in the garage?
There was a big push. So when the prototype was being made in 2019, there was a big push to get it done. I had a deadline. Mm-hmm. And so I did spend a lot of hours developing the prototype and figuring out how to put things together. And then in 2020, we got called on by the university to build 20 of these. So we had a prototype, and they said, "Oh, we would like 20." because this was during the shutdown, and the chiropractic students couldn't touch each other, but they could touch a mannequin and they could wash the mannequin down with it to clean it off. So this was a way to get the clinical training continuing, even though you couldn't touch other humans. We had to build 20.
Wow.
Yeah, and they wanted it in about 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So that was a big team effort with like 15 people all working. We were producing 5 a week. And the first one took about 6 months to build, and then we were producing them 5 a week. It's slowed down since then.
Yes.
So now I'm building them one at a time, and it's much more relaxed, but it's still in the garage. And you're right, sometimes we can't park the car in the garage. Sometimes we have all the equipment laid out, and sometimes we have, bodies laying around on tables.
Yeah.
So yeah, that can be a frustration for Mrs.
Do you eat dinner in the garage? Yeah, everything happens there.
That's right.
And what sort of new skills did you have to acquire to make this product?
Yeah. The educational background was great for the mechanics of the bones moving and how to build structures, and then how to make them move. And then the chiropractic part was all about how you would use it in an educational setting, what chiropractors do on the human body. But then to make it physical, I had to learn, electronics to put in sensors. I had to learn material science of the silicone materials, how to run cables and strings and things through bodies, the whole molding process. And what I haven't really learned too much yet is marketing.
Right. Yeah.
That's the next push, is to learn more marketing. I know when I can't do this anymore, when I get to a point where I'm up against the wall, I call in help. So I've called in help on silicone molding, and I've called in help on programming electronics and building circuits and things like that. So
I think it's really important as well to understand we're in a massive hall with a massive community of developers and simulationists here, and a product and its viability and how good it is not necessarily aligned with the amount of marketing that goes with it. So we've got some great products that are under marketed, and you've got some not so good products that are over marketed that get more attention in the community. So it's something that we all suffer with, really, and especially small businesses. They always underinvest in marketing, but that's just a symptom of being an innovator.
And the innovator wants to do everything him or herself. So that's a challenge too. You have to be able to know when to stop banging your head and call in a professional.
Yeah. So once your idea is conceptualized, you're building it in your garage. You built it with within the university as well. But essentially, you're trying to push this idea. How difficult has it been to get other people to see your vision and to convince people this product is what they need? Yeah,
the students and the practitioners, when I've done demos at conferences and things, the students and the practitioners, when they put their hands on the structure and they start to feel it, they're amazed by how realistic it is, and they say, why this isn't all the schools? But then when you talk to the teachers and the administrators who need to buy these from me, they're like, well, we've always done it this way. There's a traditional method. We always wanted, and it's very hard to get people out of the traditional methods, how they've been doing it for years, to get them out of that rut and into a new area. So there's no funding to invest in simulations in a lot of schools. And so,
do you think that's because a lot of the teaching community is of a certain age, a certain?
No, this is more just a tradition. They're just kind of being taught by the same people and the same methods over and over again. And this is how we've been doing it for 40 years. We're going to continue doing it for the next 40 years. Yeah. And they haven't seen yet, I don't think, the value of bringing in simulators like this.
Yeah.
So that's been very frustrating. It's getting at the ground level, at the students and the practitioner level, they're very excited. They feel the structure, and then we show them the electronics, and their heads are just blown because nobody's ever seen anything like that. But then getting that translated into a budget from the administrators that will purchase them, that's been a real challenge.
Yeah, and I guess if they've never seen a solution like this, creating a budget for something they've never seen before is quite difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In chiropractic schools, they've seen simulators for cardiac, and respiratory things. And all those are all over the building here. They've seen a lot of those, and they might think about investing in those. But they haven't yet really seen the spinal manipulation mannequin. They haven't seen that really. So.
Yeah. So, has Pat taken over your life, would you just say? Is it?
I try to keep it in the garage. I do try to balance.
Yeah.
I do have a life. I mentioned doing a lot of sailing, so I have to do a lot of sailing to calm things down and slow things down, because it's very meditative there. So that's a good antidote to too much work in the garage.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but if you had the opportunity, there's your chance to pitch out there to people that might want to get involved in this. If you had a dream for Pat, where would Pat go?
Oh, I'd like to see that much more common use in all the chiropractic schools and physical therapy schools and osteopathic schools. I think that would be a great training tool. They went through this with resuscitation, Annie. How many years did it take for them to blow that up into the CPR dummies, and all the variations on that now? I think you can draw a line between many of the simulators here all the way back to that CPR dummy.
Yeah.
So I think there's a pathway to get it much more common use. And then now we're seeing VR and VR where they use tools, but you could combine VR with the mannequin, so it's tactile as well as visual, and that's something that's missing in VR. It's a tactile.
Yeah.
And the mannequin is completely tactile.
Yeah, I mean, as well, there's possibilities, I guess, with AI and bringing that in. There's a scenario point of view, the conversation piece. VR and AR is quite important.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah. I know there's a lot of VR companies around here, and AR companies. Might be worth having a chat as well with them.
Been talking to some VR companies, yeah. Haven't seen much in the way of AI, but I did have some email contact with somebody from Amazon.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that person I was talking to was a real person, though.
Fantastic. So Ed, I think we've gone over most of the subjects here, and it's been fantastic for you to be here. You come down especially for us for this meeting, so thank you very much. I think we've gone through pretty much all the questions we can. I've got one prize for you. Okay, got a gift for you to take home with you. And where is it going to be? Nope, that's not. Here we go.
All right,
you get one of these. Okay.
Hey.
It's not quite as good as the socks.
It's heavy though.
It's heavy.
Shall I open it?
Yeah, open it. And I hope that you have much success with Pat, and I hope that we can help that.
Very nice.
From
Very
a social
nice.
media point of view, we'll make sure that this is shared everywhere.
Yep.
And we hope you get some positive.
Yeah, thank you very much. Enjoyed it.
Thanks very much. Thanks.
All right.
Take care. Thanks, guys.